Hello everyone, it's me Ian. So today we are doing Space Flight Simulator or SFS where I have created the Soyuz Spacecraft. Today we are going to be launching it to a space station that I have made previously. Now this Soyuz spacecraft holds the Soyuz ship itself, which can dock to the space station. Now before I start, I'm sorry for the delay of videos. I have uploaded very less. That's due to preparation for my exams and etc. So let's talk about more about the rocket. So there are four side boosters that are attached to the core tank. Unfortunately, in SFS you can't add boosters on the core tank, so I was not able to do that. So I added the two side boosters, and there is a core tank, and above that is the upper stage. Now this is basically the fairings, and inside the fairings there is the Soyuz spacecraft. So let's start. So I'll increase throttle and we'll start. So there are two versions of the Soyuz spacecraft, the Progress and the Soyuz. Now Progress is meant to carry payload. It cannot carry any humans, but the Soyuz can carry humans. Maximum it can carry is 3 humans. So here the flight engineers are on the sides, and they can be from any country like US or Russia or maybe India as well. But the commander has to be a Russian cosmonaut. Now cosmonaut is how Russians say as for an astronaut. So right now these are the solid the fuel that is in the rocket is kerosene and liquid oxygen. Now this provide fuel to get it into orbit. So as you can see, this big orbit here is the space station. We have a steady orbit. Right now I'm about to run out of fuel for the side boosters. Now once the side boosters separate, it is known as the Korolev cross. So now we have passed the Kármán line. So the upper stage is powering thrust. It's about to get 10%. So ours is not Progress, it carries actual cosmonauts. There you go. I will shut down the engine and separate it. Okay, so this is just a flying debris. Let's switch here. So now we can remove the launch shroud, and there you go, that's the Soyuz spacecraft. So there are the antenna connections over here. These are solar panels to generate electricity. Alright, so when we are at a highest point in our trajectory, where is the white dot, we can then have our maneuver. So our maneuver here is basically meant to create an orbit around the planet. So there are 3 parts in the Soyuz spacecraft. There is the descent module, that's where the cosmonauts and astronauts are. Then there is an orbital module where they have a toilet seat, they have food and everything, and also the docking port is attached there to dock to any place, like docking and meeting 2 spacecrafts or docking to a space station. So the Soyuz goes to 2 stations or more. It goes to the Russian space stations and also to the ISS, the International Space Station. Now currently the Soyuz spacecraft has been in use for more than 50 years, and it's been one of the most reliable spacecraft as well. So let's just get to our highest point. So once we have a orbit to the space station, we can detach the upper stage. There you go. And let's do a maneuver. I think that is a bit too high, so we're going to switch on RCS thrusters here to reduce the orbit. There you go. So we have a stable orbit. So now we have to go to the space station. Now we call this as docking and rendezvous. Now docking and rendezvous is done by raising the orbit each side by side to meet it. So after we leave the launch site in Kazakhstan, so now we can switch off RCS because we don't want to cause problems to the orbit. So here we need to get as close enough to the correct point to do a maneuver so that we can reach the space station. So let's rotate that. So let's switch that on. Okay. So we are getting it to match the line. So we are trying to align it. So as you can see, that line which has the markings is the orbit that we need to get to. So let's just align it like that. So we have a aligned orbit now. So you can see this is basically showing the point where we meet the station, and that's the point also when we are dock with the station. So these are the solar panels which generate electricity. I think I might have. Yep, it's good. Okay, so now we can So let's zoom out just so that we know that we are space station. I thought that was the space station, but it's just the debris. And right when it tells us when we are going to dock, there you go, that's the space station. Need to use RCS thrusters to there you go. So now we can try to dock, and docking is really hard. You need to have the correct speed. There are chances of crashing into the station, so you need to be very careful. And since this is a light object, it will be pretty easy to reduce speed. So there you can see that's the station, and we're going to dock downwards, so I think we should turn this way. That to the RCS thrusters are at maximum thrust here. There you go. We're coming close. I think I should reduce throttle by moving to the side. There you go. I think it'll come next to us now. Yep. Okay. I think we should slow down here. So we're going to dock downwards to the space station. The space station is still in build, so we'll be doing two missions. One where we are going to dock the Soyuz, and then we are going to descend another Soyuz. As you can see, there is another one as well. So let's just get ourselves slow enough to attach, or basically dock. So once we dock, we'll be able to get our cosmonauts and astronauts on board the space station. So let's just get it right in position. So you can see another Soyuz, and that's true. There are missions that overlap as well. So there are Soyuz missions that can overlap, and that's why we need many docking ports, so it'll be easy to dock. So you can see the RCS thrusters slowing it down. Okay, so our goal is to reach this docking port because the solar panels are there, which can block the way for any incoming missions. So let's attach. There you go. Okay, slow down. So when you fire in the opposite way, you slow down, because in space we have no friction, which means we can't use brakes. So we'll have to use these flames called RCS thrusters, which orientate us. So we are close to our docking port. Okay. So on board the Soyuz there is also a docking camera, and there is a point which is attached to the station, so you know when we have to orientate ourselves, and so that the docking camera matches the point where it has to match. There you go. So we can switch off RCS. There you go. Now we're in a steady orbit. So that's how we dock, and that's how the Soyuz spacecraft works. Now we have another spacecraft here as well. So we're going to undock this spacecraft. And we need to get a safe distance to use our engines. That usually happens. This is a bit hard. There you go. So we move far away from the docking port, being sure not to damage any part. There you go. So we can undock that Soyuz spacecraft. Okay, let's see the orbit. So now we need to point in the opposite direction to reduce our orbit. So now we can switch on the engine and we can put throttle. So now we can descend to enter the orbit. We are now going to enter the atmosphere of Earth, and the Soyuz spacecraft lands on land, so not of water. Unlike US's Apollo 11, which has a splashdown, this comes onto land. So now we need to match this. We can turn it like that. So now we can separate. Oh, I don't think that's separated. So that's the heat shield, which protects. So I think we can. Oh wait, I have heat damage on. Let me just switch that off. I am 100% sure the RCS thrusters are going to burn up. So the heat shield is pretty important during re-entry because the Earth's atmosphere can heat up to 6,000 degrees. Okay, those noises are basically our service module burning up. There goes our RCS thrusters. So the heat shield is very important to protect. Now, since our atmosphere is very dense, it also reduces our orbit, or basically our trajectory, because when we slow down, it goes down as the gravitational pull increases. I don't think that fairing was supposed to happen. So we also need drag parachutes to slow the speed even more down, because the re-entry won't just give enough speed to slow it down, or it's not that much enough to slow down. So we'll need drag parachutes to reduce the speed even more. Now parachutes usually work when air pressure hits against it, because then what happens is that the pressure reduces the speed. I think that fairing was about to explode. Now usually the orbital module does not come back, that also burns up. So what they usually do is that they fill up the orbital module with trash, which is actually good, so that it will burn up in the atmosphere, but for some reason mine is docked with it, so that's not correct. So the descent module has a fairing attached. The descent module has the crew in it, and the crew are supposed to evacuate from the orbital module. There you go. So we have entered Earth's lower atmosphere. Okay, there you go. So now we are on our own. So we have to wait till we get to 2500 meters, then we can deploy our parachutes. There you go. Let's get straight. There you go, that's the ground. Alright. There you go. So our speed is currently 23 meters. We're going a bit slow. Right? So we have time warp, so that we can increase it. There you go. So the parachute now fully deploys. So there are 4 ways of the parachute. So the main parachute is the biggest, and the main parachute also comes with a backup if the main parachute does not work. There you go. So we are at 6 meters per second. I think that's a fair speed to land. Right. Go. So let's just orientate ourselves so that we don't have a crash landing. We can remove the heat shield because we don't require it. I'm not sure whether this will be a crash landing or not, but yeah, but still it returned safely, so we can recover. That was a successful mission. Anyways, thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time. Thank you.